If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. I'm just making sure. I mean, these programs go so much better when you're in the right frame of mind, right? Right, yeah. And when we're talking about celebration, the road to celebration is paved with happiness, so good to start out there. So you ready to celebrate? Yeah. All right, turn to the person next to you, give them like a knuckles 5, just and say, I'm ready to celebrate. All right.
Ready to celebrate.
All right. What is the most universal celebration of them all?
Birthday.
Birthday. Anybody having a birthday today?
Yes. Yes.
Right?
There.
We got 2 birthdays. Wow. Nice. And you are? Rebecca. Okay, Rebecca, you get the first $2 bill.
All right.
And who do we have?
Steph.
Steph. Is it Steph? Yeah. Steph, a $2 bill for you.
Thank you.
This is for Rebecca and Steph. This is your birthday song. It isn't very long. So happy birthday to you, Steph and Rebecca. This is way nice to work. Wow. All right. Okay. Turn to the person next to you and pick something that you are celebrating today. Maybe it's Steph and Rebecca. It could be. It could be that you got up and you washed your hair today. That you won the seatmate sweepstakes. You're sitting there next to someone you like to talk to. Whatever it is. What are you celebrating? All right. Okay, that's enough. Enough celebrating already. All right, I knew I should have never let you go. Okay. All right, I recommend that you celebrate at least one thing a day. When you get up in the morning, pick something to celebrate. Sound good? And why do we celebrate? Well, celebration in the workplace leads to engagement. Engagement leads to better team performance, higher productivity, and less absenteeism, more creativity, more innovation, more loyalty, retention, and better customer satisfaction, because happy employees create happy customers. So what is celebration? We define celebration, as we were doing research for the book, as acknowledging all that is good. It's acknowledging the good work that you do. It's acknowledging the people that you do it with. It's acknowledging the people that you do it for. It's when your to-do lists become your done list. It's acknowledging the little and the big milestones along the way. It's not just walking through life, it is dancing through life. It's truly staying passionate about what it is that you do and the people that you do it with. It's staying in step with your community. Right? Engagement leads to all those good things we talked about. What does disengagement do? Well, according to Gallup, disengaged workers cost up to $500 billion a year in lost productivity. So celebration is one of the best ways, I think, to engage your employees, leading to that higher productivity and better team performance. Now, we did research in over 35 countries to find out how organizations engage their employees, how they create customer experiences, how they use celebration as a strategic tool. And we found that 87% of the people we talked to said they don't celebrate enough. 87%, that's too many, don't you think? So why is it? Why don't people celebrate more at work? Even in their personal lives, why don't they celebrate more? Maybe because they feel like this. Anybody feel a little bit worn out trying to balance home and work? Or doing less, doing more with less, as you hear that saying every once in a while, right? Right? So with celebration, though, It can be the littlest thing. It can be just an acknowledgement of a high five or a yes. It's just focusing on what you're already doing well. The celebration mentality is truly just an attitude. It's the way that we look at our lives. And if you change your lens, you can change your language. You will change your life. One great example comes from Return on Happiness, Joanna Branty. Look at the difference between the word deadline and finish line. I don't want to finish, or I don't want to be involved with any objective with the word dead in it. Yeah, we finished right on time on Tuesday, but in the process, 2 guys are dead. Heavy price to pay for success, wouldn't you say? Yes, finish line. Finish line implies that there's going to be some kind of celebration when you get to the end, right? Marketing's jumping up and down. HR's going wild. CFO just cracked a smile. You know it's going to be a good day. So if you change just one thing from being here today, change the word deadline to finish line, and notice if you feel any different as you're approaching or as you're undertaking that task. Had a chance to interview Federal Express, the country manager in Malaysia. He said they set these audacious goals, especially when they were first starting, and he said it was, it would seem a little bit pressure-filled, or there'd be fear in trying to reach these goals. But he said that he made it more like a pep rally, that setting the finish line in their sights so that they would get excited about reaching milestones along the way, so that they wouldn't focus on what they wouldn't get done or what they couldn't achieve. They would just keep the sight on the target, on the finish line. Finish line instead of deadline. One of the questions we asked in our survey was, what's essential in any organization for celebration to be effective? 4 things came up. Number 1 is inclusivity. Everybody wants to feel part of the gang. Everybody wants that sense of belonging, to know the secret handshake. How can we give everybody a voice in our organizations? Because it's important that everybody is heard. I love Ritz Carlton's internal slogan. We are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. It's the concept that if you expect your employees to give 5-star customer service, treating customers with dignity and respect, first, they need to feel dignified and respected so that they know what it looks like. So it starts with the employees, and then it's much easier because you know what it feels like, what it looks like to give that 5-star customer service to your customers. Love what Richard Branson said. Richard Branson said that first, number 1, they take care of their employees. Second priority, they take care of their customers. And then last priority is they take care of their shareholders. But if they do it in that order, everybody is taken care of. It's giving everybody a voice, making sure that everybody feels that sense of belonging in an organization. That's when celebration is effective. That's when engagement leads to that productivity and better team performance. Next is gratitude. Gratitude simply is a grateful feeling or emotion and an acknowledgement of the life that we have and that those we share our lives with. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Then we have play. Play is living in the present moment. It's being able to let go of any resentment we have about the past, any anger or fear or whatever else is going on in our lives. It's being present and being willing to play in that moment, being in the state of flow when we come to work. Getting excited about the future, but living in that present moment. And then the last is surprise. And surprise is including the element of the unexpected. The reason celebration fails in many organizations today is it becomes institutionalized. It becomes stale. This is the way that we've done things for years around here. This is the way that we supposedly celebrate. Maybe it's your end-of-year banquet with that same chicken, with the same DJ that you've had for 47 years, and that there's no longer the spark, there's no longer the excitement in that annual banquet anymore. So it's shaking things up a little bit. It's catching people doing something right. Well, maybe wrong and then celebrating what they did wrong. Maybe that's it. And truly looking for ways to use the power of spontaneity to connect with one another. All right, so if you look at those 4 words, inclusivity, gratitude, play, and surprise, the first 4 letters, IGPS. IGPS. So I recommend that you don't get out of bed in the morning without turning on your GPS. And it's not always easy. I mean, when we're in a good mood, when spring has sprung, like it's almost here, except for tomorrow, I guess. A little break from spring, then we'll get right back to it, right? I mean, you get out, the flowers are in bloom, you hear the birds, it's going to be a good day. Not so hard to turn on your GPS, right? All right, snow comes in, we're feeling a little bit cranky, we're feeling a little bit pressure, too much work. We wake up in the morning thinking, oh, I got to be nice to people today. You ever feel like that? That's when we need to hear that GPS lady's voice in our mind, the Siri lady. What does she say? You know what Siri says, right? She says,
recalculating. Turn left ahead, and you will have reached your destination. Unless you want to continue being a stupid jerk with a crappy attitude, in which case your destination will be a crappy life. Good luck with that.
All right, so once in a while Siri has a little bit of an attitude, I guess, but I think she makes her point clear, right? All right, it's what we focus on. All right, so this is really the crux of the celebration mentality, is turning on your GPS. All right, during the worst of times, during the best of times, how do we come from that place of gratitude for ourselves and for others in the work that we do? How do we make sure that we stay in the present moment? And how do we bring the element of the unexpected to surprise people in a way that truly honors who they are and what they want more of in their lives? Right? So when you're not feeling 100%, or when you are feeling 100%, how can we make sure that that stays on? We need some kind of anchor, some kind of motion to keep us focused on gratitude, play, and surprise. All right, so the universal sign for play is the old hang loose. Give me a little hang loose. In Hawaiian they call that shaka, right? It means to relax. It means to lay back. It's going to be all right. I take care of you, you take care of me. We have a little gratitude, a little play, a little surprise. I'm going to ask you a question. The answer is GPS, like you really mean it, with the motion. You ready? All right. Too much stress? GPS. This is the audience participation part. You're good. All right. Life's a mess. GPS. Client duress. GPS. All right, I think you got it. We'll maybe practice a little while we go through. All right, so that's a celebration mentality. How can we keep that attitude no matter what's going on in our lives? All right, let's take a little closer look at gratitude. All right, how do we move from just having an attitude to an attitude of gratitude? You know, people with an attitude, right? Oh, another dark, dreary, dreadful day in the organizational dungeon of doom. You know, people with that kind of attitude, yeah? As opposed to, getting up in the morning, feeling good about who you are and what you do, and really coming from that place of gratitude. You look in the mirror in the morning and go, ha ha, look at you. You are it. Is it my imagination, or do you just keep getting better looking? You should be in a museum, you piece of work. All right, so how do you, maybe that's a little bit extreme, but how do you make sure you wake up every morning with an attitude of gratitude? I think it really stems from just one simple question that doesn't take a lot of time, and that is, what do I have to be grateful for today? You wake up in the morning, there's not a chalk outline around your body. Something to be grateful for. Check the obituary section, your name's not there. something to be grateful for. It's counting your blessings. When you count your blessings, you have so many more blessings to count. We interviewed a lady by the name of Mary Laverty for the book, and Mary Laverty wrote a couple books on her own, Stop Screaming at the Microwave, and I used to have a handle on life, but it broke. One of the concepts she talks about is the best of the best. When her kids were young, they would come home from school, they would be sitting around the dinner table, and she would ask them the question when they sat down, what's the best thing that happened at school today? Times it may be a nice chat or a laugh with a schoolmate. Maybe a good grade on a quiz or a test. Maybe on a good day, a note from a secret admirer. But she taught her kids how to scan for what's positive in their lives, and thus created 3 very well-adjusted kids that are doing good things in the world. What if we started that same way at meetings in the mornings or whenever we have our meetings? The first thing we did, what if we said, what's working around here? What's the best thing that's going on? All of a sudden you create this positive momentum, and then anything you have to talk about after that is a lot easier to address because you're coming from a different place. As opposed to so many meetings, when you go into a meeting and the first thing, why aren't we hitting our numbers? Why isn't this working? What problems do we have to fix? And it just kind of drags you down, as opposed to just starting with something positive and then moving on. Seems like a small thing, but it's a powerful way to make sure that you're bringing out the best in people and keeping that celebration mentality just where it needs to be. And take a look at this. That's a lot of fun, isn't it? All right, and the point being is, at times when things aren't going so well, then we're open up to asking for help or coming from more of a place of gratitude for what we have in our lives, hopefully being thankful. But then all of a sudden, we become victims of that wanting more syndrome. That we don't quite have enough, or we start comparing ourselves to what other people may have in their lives. And the best way to get away from that is simply by counting our blessings. What is it that we have to be grateful for? When you count your blessings, you have so many more blessings to count. Play the very humble game with me for just a minute. Let's just say that everything in life was taken away from you. Your family, your friends, your health, your home, your career, and then given back to you. Would you have something to be grateful for? You bet. And the best way to come from a place of gratitude is to create a giving ritual, to make sure that we do something on a daily basis for other folks. Many of you, including thank you very much for sponsoring Vera today. By the nature of what you do, you have a chance to serve every single day and make a difference with people. What a wonderful thing to be able to come to work knowing that you're making a difference with people. but to be able to be involved in something that makes you feel good. The quickest way to cheer you up is to cheer somebody else up. So I have a few different rituals. One of my favorites is I have a chance to travel internationally a fair amount every year, and I travel with $2 bills. So if I'm staying at somebody's house, or I find the most creative ways I can to give out $2 bills. If I'm at your house, you may just see a $2 bill hanging out of the toilet on any given. So maybe it's a house cleaner that, who knows who's going to see the $2 bill, but it's just kind of a fun little thing that I like to do. How about just playing the simple game 10 coins? Here's how it works, and I challenge you to do this for 30 days. Take 10 pennies, 10 dimes, put them in your left pocket when you start the morning. And every time you give somebody a compliment or you catch people doing something right, and think that you take a coin from your left pocket and you put it in your right pocket. The goal is to end the day with 10 coins in your right pocket, right? And a nice smile. You know, one of those smiles where people wonder what you're up to smiles. You know, like, oh, what's Carol been doing? You know, so it's just where you make a connection. You smile with your eyes and you smile with your mouth. That counts. So it's a lot easier to transfer those 10 coins when you have the smile thing going. All right? So try the 10 coins, and it'll remind us that it's about other people. It's truly showing gratitude for what we have in our life simply by a transfer of coins from one pocket to another. And how about employee gratitude? Wouldn't it be nice to start your day with a little foot massage and a little washing of the feet ritual? Okay, maybe that's pushing a little bit much. But here's a few of my favorite ways to show gratitude in the workplace that we got from organizations all over the world. One of the most simple ones is nationaldaycalendar.com. You know, you hear, hey, a couple days ago was International Happiness Day. Last week was International Women's Day, right? Today is actually National Goof Off Day. What is National Goof Off Day? Just gives you permission to be a little bit silly, to goof off. Maybe you start your day with, when you go to in the morning, or maybe when you get back this afternoon, with a little hokey pokey action. You know, if you remember? All right, sing with me. You put your right hand in, you put your right hand out, you put your right hand in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Hey! You're kind of looking at me like, nah, that's not going to work in our workplace. Maybe a little head, shoulders, knees, and toes. The bunny hop. Well, all right, whatever it is, just to goof off, be a little bit silly, you know, permission to do something a little bit different today. And of course then, if you organize something around that, maybe it's like the organization in Washington State, it's a government organization that has wear your pajamas to work day, unless you sleep in the nude. Then you can't do it. It doesn't. All right, and then what they do, they have kids cereals and kids games during the day, and then in the afternoon they have a brainstorming session looking through the eyes of a little kid. So maybe that's the National Goof Off Day. They get a lot of great ideas that they end up implementing because all of a sudden, simply having the carefree attitude, the sense of wonder, curiosity, and playfulness of a little kid, good things happen. Maybe it's a simple, just a little certificate. You can go to 123certificates.com or creativecertificates.com, a lot of other sites as well. And you can tease people for some of their idiosyncrasies. You know the people that are always so busy. You know, what are you doing? I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm really busy. I don't have time. Just don't have. They would win the Mr. or Mrs. Busy Award, presented to I've No Time for being busier than the busiest person on the planet, awarded by Anita More Time. Right? So it's just having a little bit of fun. Doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't take a lot of money, but yet you buy a $2 frame at the dime store, the nickel store, whatever they call those, $1 store. Next thing you know, that's hanging on a wall somewhere. Just a quick little idea that you had. How about a Post-it party? Post-it parties you can use for a lot of different things. 10-year celebration when you finish a big project. You're celebrating a big birthday of an honored employee. It's better if you do it as a surprise, I think. They go out to lunch, you go to their cubicle or their office, and you say, okay, everybody, take a Post-it pad. You got 5 minutes. Write down as many things as you possibly can in Post that you like about this person. All right? Love your attitude. Post. Thanks for smiling and working overtime. Post. Thanks for covering your mouth when you sneeze. Post. Thanks for honoring the no nudist policy in the office. Post, no nudist. All right, so just a way to honor that person. They come back, they see the Post-its, they're probably touched. They'll take those Post-its, put it in a feel-good file. They'll probably keep that around for a long time. Again, we're looking for ideas that don't take a lot of time, because I know you're all busy, but at the same time, honor the work that you do and honor the people that you do it with. I learned this morning from Avera. I was talking with Mickey, and she was telling me about the jar of awesomeness. Don't you love the jar of awesomeness, just the name, the jar of awesomeness? So what you do is you can put a jar, as you see here, a colorful jar. I love the way they have a flower and a ribbon on it so that it's very inviting to put something in the jar of awesomeness. And it looks like ideas includes nice notes from a client or a worker, leader, physician in their case, goals you've accomplished, awards, projects completed. Get creative over what goes in that jar of awesomeness. And then Mickey was telling me that they could, at the next meeting, possibly pick out 3 of these to give gift cards to, or maybe in your case, or you want to then you could pick them out, give a gift card to, and then say, okay, let's honor one of these people at the annual banquet, or let's put it in the employee newsletter or e-zine, or so many different ways that you can then take this. But the point is we want to honor, we want to catch people doing something right. We want to point out the accolades of those that we work with and show that we really are a caring, compassionate community. Thank you very much for that idea. The quickest way to get rid of any negative emotion, I think, in life is to practice gratitude. It's not happiness that makes us grateful, but it's gratefulness that makes us happy. Next is play. Play is simply letting go of the negative emotions of worry, anxiety, pressure, stress, and embrace the positive emotions of curiosity, spontaneity, playfulness, a joy, a love for what it is that we do. It's accepting our current reality, all the expectations and demands that are placed on us and that we place on ourselves, and still be able to turn on the old GPS. We interviewed a man by the name of Scott Bemis, who was a former president and publisher of the Denver Business Journal. They've had a lot of growth over the years. They've won many awards. And Scott Bemis, even though they hire a fair amount of people in any given year, he always wants a part of that interview before they hire somebody. And as they get close to the final candidates for that selection process, the conversation goes something like this with that candidate. He says, if you come to work here at the Denver Business Journal, can we make an agreement that this will be the best job you've ever had? I mean, how would they even know, really, right? He says, but that's the expectation. That's what we're after. If you're on board with that, you're still a candidate for this job. If you're not, it's time you look somewhere else. All right, so whoever they hire for that job, he makes sure that he spends time with them on that first day. He'll tell them why over all the other candidates they were chosen, make them feel good. And as they start their career, they'll take them out to lunch if it works in the schedule. And then he will remind them of the conversation about this being the best job ever. He says that, there's, with any job, with life, there's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be challenges, obstacles to overcome. But if that's our goal, if we're truly finding the work that you determine is meaningful, what is that work? So that we continue to have that conversation. I will do my part. I will be open. I will be transparent. We will develop trust in our relationship. We can communicate. Our door is always open. You need to let me know what tools and resources you need to make this work. So it's a two-way street. It's a conversation about engagement. You know, so many times it's put upon the organization that we need to do something here to engage our employees, but it should be the employees reaching out and saying, how can I stay engaged? How can I make this work truly meaningful with the help of my supervisors or those that I work with? Right? To have those conversations it's so much better than to work in a vacuum. I think play starts with having a good sense of humor. How many would say you have a pretty good sense of humor? How many used to have a good sense of humor? How many have never had a sense of humor, but you think there's still hope? All right. So what kind of stress would you have up here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota? I mean, you don't have the major traffic problems that other cities have. It's a wonderful community, very homey. There's no stress here, is there? Siri, is there? Siri, would there be any stress here in South Dakota that what would stress be for you, Siri, here in South Dakota, would you say? Siri? Hold on, Siri, let's get back to you. Siri?
Apathetic employees, constant change, Donald Trump, outdated policies, communication issues, people who just don't care, retention, regulations, leadership development, rude customers, no appreciation for all that I do, winter in South Dakota, making everyone happy, Donald Trump.
All right, so I guess it's universal then, the Donald Trump syndrome, I guess. I don't know. All right, so the highest form of humor is the ability to laugh at yourself. Lowest form of humor is making somebody else the brunt of a joke. But when you can laugh at yourself, in a sense what you're saying is you accept your flaws and your foolishness, your idiosyncrasies and your imperfections, and then people can't laugh at you. They have to laugh with you. And the health of any organization is in direct proportion to that organization's ability to laugh at themselves. I mean, can you laugh at yourself? Can you make mistakes? Can you learn from those mistakes? Love what Jack Welch, when he's the former CEO of General Electric, asks, he says, how did you create such a learning environment at General Electric? He said, what was your secret to motivating your employees? And he said, it all came down to one thing. He says, he taught his employees to take their work seriously, but take themselves lightly. If you truly want to live in that state of play, where you're living in that present moment, you need to ask yourself two questions. Question number one, have you decided you want it to be fun? We spend way too much time at work not to make it interesting, not to be playful, not to have fun with what it is that we do. If you're not having a good time, you need to figure out a way to change it so that you have fun with what you're doing, or change what it is that you're doing. We don't want to go through life like this little kid, do we? I don't think. Then the second question is, okay, what are we doing to make it more fun? What are you doing to make it more fun? One of my favorite ideas is the idea of a re-gifting party. So a re-gifting party doesn't take a lot of time, and I'm a famous re-gifter. I get a lot of things I pick up junk as I travel from around the world, and so then I re-gift it because I think someone else can use it. And so I've been caught re-gifting things so many times that when I've gotten a gift that I now include the original card when I re-gift. I just cross it out and so that they know originally if it's a re-gift, where that came from. I think that's a nice way to do it. But in this case, I mean, how many of you, be proud, how many of you at one time had a singing fish on your wall? Come on, all right? See, that is a perfect re-gift item right there. The frog for your cat, the frog cap? No, you've never seen one of those? All right, see that could be your next, that could be for you. A chia pet or coffee cups. There's all kinds of clever sayings on coffee cups, like this one, please wait, sarcasm still loading. I mean, that's cute for the first couple times, right? And then it becomes a great item to re-gift. So you finish a project, you're going through a stressful time, you just want to relieve a little tension, go home. I don't want you to wrap it. Just find a plastic bag from the supermarket, something that you have laying around that you can put it in, and then we'll get clever tomorrow. We'll just take a quick 15-minute break or 10-minute break during the day, and you'll have a little re-gifting party, and then you have a good laugh, and then you can re-gift it the next time if you don't like it, the next time that you have a re-gifting party. The goal is to make what we do a little bit more fun. That's all. Here is a retirement community in the Midwest trying to engage their employees. Isn't that fun? So it started as a simple exercise to engage employees to put this thing together, and they thought, okay, and they did it to engage employees and then to engage the residents. It's just an activity for them to partake in that would be kind of fun. What they didn't realize is this would become their number one way to recruit new residents for their facility, right? Because it went viral. And then everybody thought, wow, what a great way, or what a great place. I want to be part of this community. Then they started using it in their marketing materials once they realized how successful it was. So it brings up the question, well, how can we use technology to bring us closer to our clients, to our community? See, if you haven't made a commitment to technology at this point, you've pretty much made a commitment to retire, right? But you see, it's so easy to create our own high definition videos simply by what we have every day that we talk on the phone with our smartphones, right? You look at Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon's ratings and viewership is up over 25% what the old Tonight Show with Jay Leno was. And part of it they attribute to the fact that they do all these fun skits. So they take, what would be a normal conversation, maybe with a few laughs, and you create extra laughter because there's a lot of surprise involved. That element of you just never know for sure what's going to happen when they partake in these games. But then what happens is they go viral. If you go to the Tonight Show and you look at the different guests and the gags that they play every night, they have 6 million, 7 million, 8 million, 10 million views in a short amount of time, simply because people want to see it. And then they go, oh, I wonder, then all of a sudden they're tuning into the Tonight Show because they want to see it live. How can we do the same thing? How can we take advantage of technology? What can we do that possibly could go viral if we're clever enough? Simply by asking the question, what's next? How can we better serve our community of employees, and how can we better serve our customers? Love what Linus Pauling, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, says the best way to come up with a good idea is to come up with lots of good ideas. Right? The more good ideas you come with, the more ideas you have to choose from. What worked yesterday may not work today. What works today may not work tomorrow. So it's continually throwing out a bunch of ideas up against the wall and seeing which ones stick, and then coming up with new ideas. All right, everybody have a bingo card. If you don't, you should have, if you would pass them out, you should see them in the middle of your table. If you would just If you don't have one, raise your hand. I'll make sure that you get one. Okay. All right, everybody know how to play bingo? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. All right, that free space in the middle, that funny looking guy, that's a free space. Just mark that out. It's 5 in any direction. 5 vertically, horizontally, diagonally. In a group this size, there may be 2 of you who get bingo at the same time. If you do, I only brought one prize. Whoever screams it the loudest will be declared the winner. Okay, hold on one second. I just got to grab my bingo sheet, which should be right here. All right, you ready? Here we go. B7. B10. 071. I-25. N41. N35. I-28. 068. 070. 064. N33. G51. Oh, surprise! Everybody wins! If you didn't get bingo, you did something wrong. There's actually 8 different cards, so everybody at the table had a different card. But everybody's bingo number was G51. All right? So that's the concept of surprise is either like a practical joke, a surprise that people don't expect, like we just did, but then if you can sprinkle it with something, a reward that they appreciate, that truly motivates them or they find value in, that's the secret to surprise, is giving them more of what's highest on their joy list. All right? So we had the good laugh. I surprised you, so now what's the prize? Okay, everybody gets, if you would like, a free electronic copy of Celebrate. All you have to do is, on your bingo card, you'll see my address, scott@scottfriedman.net. Send me a note and say, copy of book, or send me Celebrate, whatever you want to say, and I'll make sure that you get an electronic copy of Celebrate. If you want a paperback copy of one of my 4 books today, all proceeds go to Together We Can Change the World, an organization that we have in Southeast Asia that takes care of orphans and women that have been trafficked or neglected or abandoned in some way. 1 book for $15, 2 for $25. That's my only pitch for the day, and it all goes to a good cause. So that's just for being here today and being surprised, a free book if you send me that email. All right? All right, so how do we add more surprise into people's lives that either you work with, that you serve, or even family? Now, I'm lucky. I've had the great fortune of having the same assistant for over 25 years, Nancy McGraw. After 1 year of working together, we sat down and we said, okay, how can we better serve each other, and how can we better serve our clients? We came up with one idea that made all the difference in the world: job descriptions for each other. And the job description was the exact same: to create each other's perfect world. My perfect world revolves around more joy, less hassle. I think all of our perfect worlds probably in some way do, right? I want to be able to come and go as I please. I want the freedom to create. I want a chance to make a difference in whatever unique way I want to make a difference in the world. So if you ask Nancy what she does for me, she'll say the stuff that doesn't show, which is just about everything. Nancy's perfect world, she said, revolves around anything that doesn't have to do with accounting and technology. I said, great, we'll order out. We do. She said, I want to spend more time with my son, David. David was young at the time, home, obviously in school. I said, great. Summertime, take a little bit more time off, work from home, spring break, same thing. What we do is not brain surgery. We'll work it out. And we did. And then David got older, went off to college, and I knew that if I truly wanted to make Nancy happy, only having one son, that it would revolve around David. So David's now going to school in Washington State when Nancy was having her 50th birthday. David called a few weeks before the big birthday and says, oh, Mom, I'm not going to be able to come home for your big birthday. I'm sorry, we have a test up here. I can't make it up, so I'm going to have to make it up to you later. She was disappointed, but she understood. Morning of her 50th birthday, she's working a half day. Phone rings. She thinks it's a client by the way that I'm talking. I answer the phone. October 23rd, can you hold on a quick minute? Nancy, can you do me a favor? Can you run to the trunk of my car and grab my road calendar out? She had done this before. I work in a home office, car's right outside, runs outside, opens up the trunk of the car. There's David in the trunk. Surprise! And once we revived her, she was somewhere close to that perfect world. All right, so how do we do that? How do we add a little bit more joy and passion, or how do we tap into the joy and the passion by how it is that we surprise people? Right? Different ways to do that. I was speaking in Sri Lanka about a year ago, staying at the lovely Taj Sumatra Hotel. They were one of the sponsors for a program that I was doing in Colombo, and I got to my room and there was a picture frame by the bed, and I immediately noticed it, and I walked over and I picked it up. It was from an orphanage that we had built, Together We Can Change the World had built, in Wang Papao, Thailand, between Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai in northern Thailand. And they had gone to my Facebook page, and they just simply right-clicked, copy image, sent that image to or just printed it off in this case, put it in a frame, and halfway around the world in Sri Lanka, there it was sitting on my bedside table. Wow. Talk about connection. I mean, immediately I'm thinking, you talk about managing your moments of truth, and one of the most important moments of truth is that very first connection, right? All right, so in this case, I had only been there, I had a great a check-in moment, and then I had this moment. Now, almost anything that would go wrong from this point wouldn't even matter because I got that photo, right? No running water in the hotel. No big deal, who cares? No food in the hotel. For whatever reason, no big deal. I got the photo. No internet in the hotel. Oh, you got to have internet. Everybody, you need internet when you travel. Never mind. The internet's a big deal. But the rest of it doesn't matter, right? So it's creating that connection, all right? Together We Can Change the World means a lot to me. I spent a fair amount of time, and it's something that's very close and I'm passionate about. All right, so what are people that you serve, who you serve, that are your employees, what are they passionate about? How can we give them a little bit more of that? I love this whole idea because it's so easy today to do a mugshot surprise. The organization that wins the prize for surprise in the book, that you'll learn more about if you choose to send me an email, is Royal Plaza on Scots. They do an amazing job of surprising their employees as well as surprising their customers in a lot of fun different ways. But one simple thing that they do is when you send in a confirmation, they'll send you a confirmation. They'll say, is there something, are you celebrating something special, or is there something we can do for you? If it's an anniversary or a birthday, they track down photos and they put the photos on a coffee mug or in a picture frame sometimes or on a t-shirt. And when you check in, you'll find this little memorabilia from your life. If it's a 50th anniversary, they'll track down the wedding photo simply by going to Facebook and looking who your relatives are and just tracking it down from that. It's a little eerie at times. You're like, whoa, they've been stalking me. But it's a very nice touch. Like maybe a fine line between stalking and a nice touch, but still, so I have a friend of mine, a speaker friend, and I'm on her Facebook page one day. Deb Fine and her husband Steve, and that's her daughter Sarah, and Sarah's husband now, Eric. And this is in Colorado at where was it? Red Rock, yeah, Red Rocks, but not Red Rocks, not the Red Rocks, but the Red Rocks golf course or something, in the mountains, right? Thank you. So anyway, so I'm like, I thought that's a lovely picture. So I right-clicked, I sent it to Shutterfly. Shutterfly, if you don't know Shutterfly, it's a wonderful service, and they always have sales. So this was like a 50% off sale. The coffee mug cost me $11, including shipping for this. And we're in a meeting that I knew Deborah and I were going to be at. We're sitting there it was like a 3-hour meeting, and I'm drinking from that coffee cup with that. And it took her like 2 hours into the meeting to realize that, all of a sudden she kind of looks and she grabs the cup, spills the coffee in the cup. Where did you get this cup? And she thought it was the photography studio had stolen like her and was now. So at first she was kind of mad about it until she realized what happened. But I love just creating those kind of crazy moments by surprise. And photo memories are a wonderful way to do it. You can put photos on anything today. It's a great way to get closer to your customers is find out what they like and give them a memory in a clever way. I love the game hide and wait. I'll take this coffee cup, I'll go to a friend's house, I'll put the cup in the very back of the coffee cups. You never really get to the back of the coffee cups if you have a lot, right? Because you'll wash them, and then all of a sudden, 9 years later, you'll get a call. Are you responsible for this? Oh, it took you a while, 9 years, but I figured it out. It's kind of like another one of my rituals along with the $2 bills. So it's just I like to mess with people in a positive way. That's not so bad, is it? No. All right. So we have gratitude, play, and surprise. How do you keep your GPS turned on? Whose responsibility is it in an organization to make sure that it happens? Right? Is it the C-suite? Is it HR? Managers, supervisors? Well, first I think it's everybody's responsibility to have more fun. Everybody's responsibility to celebrate themselves first, and then celebrate the work that you do, those that you do it with, those that you do it for. Right? But wouldn't hurt. A lot of the organizations that we interviewed have a fun committee or a play committee, VP of craziness, silly, whatever it may be, but have a little celebration committee so that you don't put it on to HR. The chief of employee engagement doesn't have to come up with something all the time. It's the people that were social directors in their fraternities and sororities, or that knew how to throw the parties, or that still know how to throw the parties. You have a couple of them on there, and then maybe someone that complains about you never do enough of this on there, then okay, come on, join us. But you make sure that you have a couple strong, good personalities. You don't want to take it down. All right, but that's a great way to make sure that you get a little you get a little bit more of that. And again, the focus is not spending a lot of time or a lot of money, because we don't have time or a lot of budgeted resources to these things. It's just being clever. It's really that we're just here to acknowledge one another, to honor the good work that we do together and those that we serve, and to make sure that we keep the happy dance going. All right? So I'm going to show you some scenes from workplaces, a few outside workplaces of the happy dances going on, and then I'm going to ask you to do one thing with me when we're finished. Ready? First we'll watch.